Hi and welcome to episode 18 of Every Semicolon. I'm not sure how long this episode is going to go for. I have something sort of specific in mind I want to do this episode, so I'll be focusing on just one thing, which is a tool, and I'm leaving it on this screen for just a moment in the hopes that I'll capture a thumbnail for YouTube of a nice looking shot. I want to create a tool that, in the last episode you saw me selecting that wall of bricks, sort of one at a time, and tedious and error prone, takes a little while to do, and I figure that's going to be a fairly common part of the level creation for this game, selecting a bunch of sort of adjacent bricks or blocks, and deleting them, moving them, whatever I do post selection, and it's relevant. Just the selection part, making that, if I can create a tool that will make that simpler, I think that would be pretty awesome. So my thought is, at the moment, to have a way of grabbing a brick, selecting a brick, and having something in the tool that says some sort of parameters that allow me to do some sort of limitation. But my thought is that I hold down a button and I can move the cursor around, and as the cursor goes over certain objects, so for example, if I click this and hold down Control or Shift or something and move the cursor to the right, it will then select this object like that. So not entirely sure how I'm going to do any of this yet. I guess what I'll do is build an editor window, which I can open up and dock somewhere when I'm using it. Maybe draw some buttons in the scene view for changing some of the parameters. I think what I'll probably want to do is make it either select things that are adjacent to the current selected object or objects a certain distance away, sort of maximum. So if I click on this and move the mouse over here, let's say that gap between the objects here, very, very minor in this case, we're not a good example, but let's say this might be a better example. I could select this one and hold down Control and move the cursor over to the cannon, and because there's such a gap between that selection and the cannon, it doesn't select the cannon. But I also want to not select the platform, so probably think about how I can do that as well. But I'll probably just do that by not having not moving the cursor over it, just being careful. So I'll have to have a look at what sort of selection options I have. I believe there is a pick. I haven't done tons of scene view selection editor stuff, so I think there's picking things for sort of how they do it now in the editor, and you can say I want to pick the topmost selection if it's a prefab. So when I click on this, it's actually selecting the stone healthy object, but it actually selects the parent prefab object. So that's going to be what I want to do. So basically, I just want a way of picking, as I hold down the button, just constantly checking for the pick and testing it against some sort of settings I put in there for distances, and maybe something to do with distance from the camera or something like that too. So I can make it just pick things in sort of in this perpendicular to the sort of the camera direction plane. Maybe even put in something for a near and far plane for selection. So I could go, I want to select this thing and all the things around it in that sort of world z-axis, or the x-axis of this object, or I guess the camera z-axis. So what I could then do is maybe set up a near and far sort of selection plane, and it only selects things within that region. Probably not something I need to do, but it's a future advancement. For now, I think I'll just focus on the whole, if the object's nearby one of these selected objects, then it will be included in the selection when the mouse goes over it. So let's get started. I might just use these two blocks here and just leave the leave the camera in this sort of zone just for thumbnail purposes. Might sound a bit weird, but just keep looking at the YouTube videos, and once they upload and it gives me the thumbnail choices, they're always the same. It's always the same shot of the ballista or of just the fortress here. Always looks exactly the same. It'd be nice to just get this new cannon in there, just so when people see the thumbnails, they go, "Oh, look, there is actually something new going on in these videos. Let's check it out." And I think it looks friggin' awesome too. I think it's a great looking little shot here. I think the cannon's pretty kick-ass, and I'm looking forward to seeing the platform it goes on, and especially the dwarves that work with it. I think this is going to be pretty cool. Alright, so let's get started. 6 minutes in and haven't really done anything yet, just talked about it. What I want to do is build an editor window. So I've got some I've made before, so I might just stick with using one of those as a starting point. So we've got the space measure. Remember that one from one of the early episodes? Pretty useless window, to be honest. So let's call it select. Let's call it quick selection. Alright. Yes, I am doing this on purpose as well, for the same reason as I mentioned before. I'll stop doing it soon. I'm sure that that it's probably been long enough now for that to be one of the thumbnail choices. But I can still see all the code right now. I've actually been thinking about doing these videos. I can't use my regular layout for development, and it's sort of, I don't really want to change what I do typically while I'm developing from what I do on these videos too much, because it just becomes frustrating having such a difference between this development environment and my usual. I do all my development for these videos on the one monitor at 1080p 1920 by 1080, which is actually not the resolution of this monitor. This monitor is a 27-inch Dell, and it goes to 2560 by 1440, 1400, something like that. It's 16 by 9 monitor, so the 1080 resolution works fine. But it's flanked by, on either side, 24-inch monitors, which are 1920 by 1200, 16 by 10 monitors. And so when I'm developing, normally I have, I make use of at least two of the monitors. And I was thinking about doing something with one of the monitors, turning it vertically, having that be the code monitor, because if you have a vertical 24-inch monitor, put Visual Studio on there, start auto hiding some of this stuff, you can get some serious real estate on the screen for code. And a vertical configuration means you can get a lot of code on one screen. Pretty useful. I was actually looking at over at Sean Edwards' place and looking at his development environment. He's a developer of Lunar Flight, which you can get on Steam, and looking at his development environment, and he's got that set up, and it's pretty awesome. He's also got a large TV for the for Unity sort of scene view, so he's got the scene view on one big monitor, and then code on another vertical monitor, and other things like the inspector and hierarchy and project on another monitor. And this one's just occupied entirely by the scene view, as sort of in this I guess sort of like this, which hopefully this is the thumbnail. Go thumbnail, go. So that's pretty awesome. I kind of like that, and so I'm thinking about maybe doing something like that for my regular development environment. Obviously can't do that for these videos, so I'll then have to maybe save a different layout. I might just save this now. Save layout, call it Every Semicolon, and that way I can add another layout for my regular development and just easily swap between them using Unity's awesome layout saving and loading mode. So I'm considering doing that. Maybe I can possibly make use of all three monitors in development, which would be pretty awesome. starting to work on a couple of projects now that I'm getting into, so as well as this one, obviously. So it'd be cool to get a development environment that makes you feel like working more than just what I've got now, which is I've got these monitors flanking with websites and videos, and it sort of detracts from when I'm doing this every semicolon. I work much harder than I do on regular stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna get coding. Okay, quick selection, editor window. So what we want to do is just have a basic editor window. For now, I'm just going to put a toggle in for sort of on and off. And what I might do is do an on scene. So on scene view or on scene GUI. So again, this is not something I've done heaps of. Oops. Scriptable object. None of that. Right. Alright, so let's go to the scripting reference. Alright. I think it's on scene view. Nope. Alright, on scene GUI. I like how with the description here they say, e.g. mesh editing, terrain painting. I mean, these are the typical uses. They actually started doing the Ninja Camp is a great thing to look at if you're interested in Unity development. The current one that I think just finished was Ninja Camp 6, and this is where they sort of spend a week in the Unity office, get together and build a bunch of different stuff. So they've got some cool ones like worked on some mesh painting or hardware cursors, fluid solvers, voxel terrain, and things like that. So things that they wouldn't normally add to the engine, they sort of mess around with in Ninja Camp. So I think that's where they first did some DirectX 11 stuff, which we'll see in an upcoming release. So it's pretty cool if you're interested in Unity development, seeing sort of what the future might be, what new things might be included in future versions. You should check out the Ninja Camps they do. They put up videos and things like that as well, showing off what they've done. So for the scene view, we're going to put in, I'll just chuck in for now just a toggle called I should just default it to true, I suppose. Toggle hold. Quick select on. So call it quick select. Active. That's better naming it. Alright, so now my editor window, which is under custom quick selection. Okay, now to figure out how to actually make it draw to the scene view. So editor on scene GUI, inherit from scriptable object, editor and what you say, on scene GUI. So far, not working. Alright, let's have a look. Alright. Okay. So, allow editor window class to access on scene GUI. Alright, so on scene GUI I think is typically for inspector, custom inspectors and things like that. So scene view dot on scene GUI delegate. Let's give that a roll. So assume, what's a good way to do an init method for editor windows? Okay, a couple of distractions. I need to pause this a couple of times. Alright, where are we at? Let's just try see if we can run a method on this thing. It's a static. So let's try quick selection. Open up the window. Alright, so that works. We have our init log there. So in here, let's go to, what was that? He does mention here that you know, it's undocumented, subject to change. So that was at 3.0. Maybe now in the current version. Let's have a look. No. Oh. I'm sure if they remove it, they'll replace it with something else. Where what's actually called on-scene GUI delegate, and the delegate on-scene func, scene view. All right. Let's do that. No. Should probably be fine. I think the so I'll get this scene view out of it, which I don't know if that's gonna really be necessary for anything that I want to do, but it is possible that I might need to use sort of GUI layout. Let's just see if we can get maybe handles working. Handles is a it's a world space, right? Okay, so should be able to do GUI stuff with handles dot begin GUI. Alright, so it seems like I have to keep, well, the window's gone, it's still showing. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, I need to do something about that. About instead of put this init stuff, use on focus and on lost focus, I believe, are the methods. And in those, I don't really want that because it's not want to lose focus. I wonder, should just have a look at this editor window thing and see if there's any sort of close end windows. Let's have a look. Close the editor window. We need sort of an on close or on destroy. Yep, on destroy. Got that, and that's probably it. So I'll leave the init stuff and use on destroy. To remove our delegate method. Custom quick selection. Bloop. It's all there. Okay. This goes away when it repaints the window, so it requires me to move the mouse. Cool. Okay, quick selection. Quick select active. Alright, let's jump in here and do a repaint on the window so I don't have to move the mouse. Repaint all works for me. Quick selection, repaints, close, repaints. Alright. So the scene view doesn't actually re-render anything, it just stays as the same image until there's a need to re-render. So if you move the mouse or change the view, then it will render again. So I'm forcing it to render when this window either opens or closes. Alright. So now we have this toggle button to change whether or not the selection stuff is active. Now we want to start doing some actual selection stuff. So what we need is the picking stuff. So let's have a look at the scripting reference for picking. Pick. Handle utility, pick game object. Alright. Pick game object in specified rectangle. What's that? That's interesting. So that returns. Okay, so that's for this mode where they do that. So that could potentially be useful. It might be actually cool to be able to do those planes I was talking about, like limit it to a anything falling on this side of a plane and this side of a plane, so just within that region, then I can just go like that and just select that entire wall. That might actually be pretty handy too. But for now, stick with what I was thinking originally. So pick game object closest to the specified position. Select prefab root. Okay, cool. So handle utility, pick game object. So let's try do this on scene GUI stuff, or might be able to do it in an update. I think what I need to do is, in the scene view, I need to probably use the event system maybe to override any other sort of stuff and make this window, while it's active, take control of any mouse input. So let's have a look, see about that. Does the event stuff exist in this mode? Event.current. Just log out. Type. Yep. Mouse move, repaint. Okay. So let's go while quick select is active, and if event.current.type type is equal to event.type dot key up, key down. And does key down return when the key goes down for the first time, or when it stays down? So we'll have to check that out. And event.current.key code. What is key? That might be what we want to. It's just a keyboard event. Don't want that. Which mouse button was pressed? Type event. It's control key held down. That's a cool one. That's what I want. Event.current.control. Say event.current.use. And now we want to do debug.log handle utility pick game object event.current.mouse position true. Alright. Might add to this on focus. Alright, so the hold down control, move the cursor around, you can see down the bottom left there the game objects it's picking, and it's drawing a little dot as well, which is, I didn't know it did that, must be something they put in. Alright, so that's working. It's obviously a little bit slow, it's constantly picking, but that's pretty cool. So if I move over here, it's got null, get the clouds, the cannon, 1B, 1B. Alright. So that's cool. That's returning what the cursor is over while control is held down. So it's well on our way. What we're after now is, and I'll just do this now. I want to start testing whether or not that's within some sort of some value. So I need to store what things are currently selected. I guess that's already done in Unity already, so I'll just use their built-in selection dot objects or transforms. Okay, so we'll put in some sort of range. Allowed distance from selection. We'll just say 2 meters. Check if let's check if allowed, check if selection allowed. So we'll just do select if allowed. So it's going to pass in whatever it finds. So first thing I want to do is just eliminate any this is going to be, what does that return? Game object. First one I do is check things like whether the object's null or whether it's already selected, and just do some early outs. So if that is null, it's going to return. If that selection, I might just grab the transform at this point. selection dot transforms. It's an array, so do I have any utility methods in this to check if an array contains a value? That's probably a useful one to have. General resize array. Let's chuck one in here. So in the same vein as this one, I'm going to use this same sort of generic method. So array contains. So there's the array, and here's the value you want to check. Check for object. Do a loop through array dot length, and if array dot array I is equal to check for object, return true. Return false. So the idea is that we pass in an array, and the value to check for. It loops through all the values in the array. It looks for all the values in the array. If it finds it, returns true. If it makes it through the entire loop without finding anything, it will return false. So here's our quick select. So let's just give that a go. U dot general dot array contains. So the array type is transform, and the array is that, and we're checking for that. I might just test this out before I go much further and forget that I haven't actually tested this method out yet. Object already selected. Else I might just print out the name of the object just to help with our debugging here. Not already selected. Interesting. Okay, let's see. No. Best load, valid arguments. Pass here. Property or index blah blah transform. So that's some sort of it's a property, not. Alright, so we want to get. What was the get transforms? Trans an array. No, I'll use this. Selected transforms equals that. Pass that in instead. It's an array. Okay. Hold down Control and get some more errors. GUI window tries to begin rendering while something else has not finished rendering. Okay. So I need to not do this. Might do if Control is down, and event.current dot type is equal to event type dot mouse move. So I don't want to steal the event when it's paint or something like that. Object not already selected, rock platform medium. Not already selected, block stain 1B. Yep, and none of them obviously are being selected, so now I need to actually select them. And I'll just return from that. So selecting that and selection dot so it's the standard way of adding to a selection. So these are all get set, blah blah blah. So if I do this one, so you can set it. I wonder if there's just a select. Let's just try setting active transform to check transform and see if that will add it. Yep. It doesn't add it, it just selects it. But you can see as I move a mouse around, object already selected, rock platform. Selecting staying healthy. Alright. So I probably just need to use the pick. It's kind of interesting that it's being able to hold down a button and move around and have all these things be selected for a moment. Alright. So let's go back to our pick game object. Alright, so pick game object does all that, but doesn't necessarily select it. So we just want a way of selecting the picked game object. Okay, let's do a quick search. When I'm looking for something in Unity that I don't know, I often just do a quick search and see if I can find it. If I don't find it straight away, then I normally just decide to look for it myself, figure it out myself. So that's what I'm going to do. If we go back to selection, so in here we can set the active transform, but we can't set transforms array. We can set the objects. So that's probably what I need to do. So we have here resize array, and we can add one to the end. Let's try that. See what happens. Resize array of type object. The array is, and we'll just I think there's going to be a situation where, yeah, okay, so it's another property. It's a Unity Engine object, not just object. So object selected objects selection dot objects, resize the array selected objects to selected objects dot length +1, and then selected objects dot length -1 equals check object. Yeah, that should be fine. Right, does any of that do anything resembling work? Not yet. Reference my selected objects, resize array, object array. Same. Argument 1 cannot convert to. That's interesting. So object array to type object array. Why is it? My bad. I put in the type object array instead of object. Okay, so let's see what that does. Hold down Control. Nope, keep going. It says selecting, but none of them are actually being selected. Alright, so that didn't work. Oops. Okay. Because I'm not setting it back. So selection dot objects equals selected objects. Hold down Control. There we go. Alright. So currently that's pretty decent because I can, select that wall even from this distance, and because it's picking the things in front and not the stuff behind, I'd imagine that in a moment I'll just have that wall selected by itself. Zoom over there, and as you see, that was much quicker than what I'd done the other day. Problem with that is currently, for some reason, it's still, and look at that, that's to fix up my stuff here. So on focus, probably not the go. I really need to keep track somehow of whether or not it is included as a delegate. Maybe we should just try that. Okay, so get invocation list returns system.delegate array. So I want to check all of these to see if my one is currently in there, and if not, add it. So I'll do that still in on focus. Wish I could do it in something else even, because let's do it in update. Okay. I could also try first just whether or not subtracting a delegate causes any issues. Subtracting one that isn't actually in there. I've got it included a whole bunch of times. We'll see what happens. Okay, I guess not. Close that. Custom, quick selection. Okay, so that seems fine. Let's get rid of that. Take that out for the moment. It does require me to click on. I wonder if there's a way, like a post load or something. Going on recompile. And project change will probably happen. Because the script gets recompiled. No. Alright. It doesn't really matter for now, I'll just leave it as is, and might include something back in update when I get a chance. Oh, I could do it right now, but I'm not sure if that's slow. I definitely don't want to repaint all every time, so I might just come up with an alternative, do this, check if it's in the invocation list or something instead. Right, so let's just quickly finish this thing up. So at the moment, you can select all those things, that's all good. Hold down control, let it go, it's pretty cool. It does select, looks like the cloud. What's that all about? What's it saying? Selecting clouds. So pick game object. Select prefab root. Selecting clouds, and then it selects child over and over again. That's interesting. Okay, so it's like when you click once and the parent prefab select, you click again and it selects a child. Let's have a look. What we want to do is, I don't know if there's a way around that easily. It's just a Unity thing, how they do their selection stuff. Normally it's cool, but in this case not so much. So I want to try and find the prefab root and check if that's selected. And what does it return if not? Okay, so okay. Let's just do this straight up. Check object equals find prefab root check object. So prefab utility. Alright, much better. Cool. So now it's only ever, once it gets into this method, looking at the prefab root. Okay, now we just need to do a check of if it's within the allowed distance of our currently selected stuff. So we have an array of all of our selected objects already, but what we're probably after is the transform array. Now I'll just for now do the distance from the transform position. So in the case of things like the blocks, that's down the bottom of them. Yeah, alright, that'll do. I might just crank this up to 2.5. Alright, so if it's worth actually selecting it there, right? So before that we want to choose the check, but we'll just go if selection dot transforms dot length is greater than 0. This is where we'll do the check. So what we're looking for is one within range, so if it gets through all doesn't find it. Okay. Found within range equals false. Alright, so we're going to go through all of these guys. And it's a property. I might just cache this for now. I've already got it up here actually. Okay. So if vector 3 distance between that and that is less than I might just make this a I was thinking I'd have like a different distance per that'll be screen space. I'll get rid of that for now and figure that out later when I do some more sort of camera space distance checking and things like that. So for now this is going to be world space distance check from transform route or transform position to transform position. It's less than that, within range equals true, and we'll break out of the loop. So if we've gotten through the entire loop and it hasn't said within range is true, we go if within range is false, we'll return, we'll break out of this whole method, and we'll just put a log in for now saying object not within range. And that should do it. So if it is within range, it won't return here, it'll come down and add it to the selection. And the other thing I did in here was I said if the length is greater than 0, it does this check. So if there is already stuff selected, check if this new object is within the allowed range from one of them. So if it's the first thing, we don't want to check anything, we just want to select it, obviously, otherwise we'll never select anything because it's checking for some crazy stuff. Right, not within range, not within range. None of these guys are within range. Fair enough, I guess. What is the range? Selection transform subposition, check transform disposition, selection 2.5. 2.5. I'm pretty sure they're within 2.5 of each other, right? Ooh. maybe not. Maybe not. What's going to cover it for? If I select this dude, probably, yeah, let's try 3. $2.5, we're just shy of what we're after. Not within range. It's interesting. Select the transform sort length, so distance from that to check position. Distance within range is true. Else, let's log out what this is. $2.7. Okay. Probably because it's public, or either way. What's happened now is I need to actually close the window and reopen it because it's serialized that value. What I'll do instead is chuck in a something in here for setting the value. GUI layout dot do they have a float editor GUI layout, right? Yeah, editor GUI layout has a float field, which is handy. And label goes first. Allowed distance between objects. Oops. Okay. Select. Okay. Ah, it takes up the entire. Anyway, doesn't matter. So 2.5. Change it to 3. First one. Alright, now we're selecting all these guys. If I move the cursor up to this guy over there, object, block, stone corner, roof, not within range. So that's what we're after. So that's pretty cool. And what I can do is I can add in a whole bunch of other stuff to this if I wanted to. And I might not print the stuff on screen, I might just put it in here instead because I don't think I need any stuff on screen like that. But that's kind of cool. So now I can have all those. I could probably untick that, select this guy, put it back on, and now I've got another thing that's within the selection. So now he's part of the thing that will check for allowed range. Select that, quick select active, and look at that. So if I move the cursor directly down here, I can't select these guys, but if I make my way there, all of a sudden I can. And it is slowing down a bit, as you'd expect. The more selected objects there are, the more things it has to check. So hold down Control, I can't select these guys, so I'll turn off quick select, select one manually, turn it back on, and now I can select them. I think I just selected one of the corner bits over there because I was holding down Control a bit early, but that's fine. Yep, I can just turn it off, deselect it, and now I have all these guys selected. Super fast, super easy. And this is something I can easily expand as well, and you know, it's pretty handy. I might improve it as the project goes on, and maybe throw it on the asset store for free or something like that. I don't really think I can charge people for something that I've coded while recording the whole process for everyone to see. I don't think, yeah, I mean, I could, I guess, and people will, would buy it if they wanted to or interested in it, or if they couldn't be bothered following along and writing it themselves, or maintaining it as I improve it. But it's sort of it's not really worth charging for. I'd rather just give it away for free. Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. I'm happy with that. So that's the quick selection window. Sure, it'll come in handy, and I'll just probably improve it in the next few episodes. But that's super awesome. And yeah, if you watch the last episode, I mean, it didn't take too long. Maybe it took 30 seconds to select that wall, but now it takes 5 seconds. So that's really awesome. I'm pretty happy with that. So that was still an hour, but well worth it. Well worth it. I'm pretty happy with that. Thanks for watching, and I'll be posting more episodes really soon. I haven't actually posted these onto any of the forums and stuff for a while, so I'm going to have to do that one big hit shortly. Yeah, so again, some bit of feedback I just got before about, I think I mentioned in one of the episodes the idea of doing some sort of technical design episode, or some sort of video discussing technical design of this game or something. So someone thought that'd be a good idea. They wanted to see that, so I might think about doing something like that sometime soon. Alright, so that'll do it for this episode. One last chance of getting the decent thumbnail for YouTube. Close this quick select, delete these two guys, and now it's like nothing ever happened. Alright. Yeah, new episode probably next few days. Thanks. Alright, this is going to be a continuation of episode 18. I'll put up a little message at the end of the last little segment when I was finishing it up. I've come back to the computer to start uploading the episode to YouTube, and I thought, you know what, I just want to finish it off. Now, it wasn't quite complete at the end of the episode, so still feel like just doing the last few little tweaks to it. So it's probably won't be very long. I just want to add on, just start shifting this stuff down into the window, and maybe look at some other stuff, fixing up what I was doing here, for example. Okay, so let's do this thing. So update happens. On-scene GUI will only happen when the GUI repaints. Probably less often than the update. Update happens every 100 times per second, I believe, for edited Windows. So when do I want to try doing this? Maybe see if on GUI gets called after recompile. Apparently not. Okay. On scene GUI won't get called. Update does. Maybe these do get called, but maybe it was called in repaint. Didn't happen, so let's try that. Recompile. Alright. Yeah, that'll do. I'm happy with that. Well, no, let's quickly just chuck this in, and I'm interested to see if this works. Delegates. Wait, what have I got? Invocation list. Okay, what am I doing? I just want to print out the name of the delegate. Get some method represented by the delegate. Yep. Dot name. Let's get rid of that for a sec. On scene GUI. Cool. And declaring type dot name. Quick selection on scene GUI, blah blah blah. Okay. Finally, I'll just make sure it's only being added once for now. So 0, 0, 0. Okay. So that is the only delegate in the list. So that's cool. So now let's see if we can compare it to. I guess we can't. It's like compare. Yeah, I think that's probably end up like that loop. Everything's going to be slower anyway than this. Repaint all. Yeah, man, happy with that. That's cool. Alright, leave that as is. Alright, get rid of that log, get rid of that. Awesome. That is all that sorted. Now let's get rid of this GUI stuff here and instead do it in the actual window. Or better yet, draw GUI. We'll grab it, we'll throw it into this, and we'll call this draw GUI method from one of two locations. Let's put in a bool down the bottom called draw GUI in scene view. And we'll put it at the top of our on GUI. And hit. Okay. Let's have a look. Draw GUI in scene view, uncheck. That's cool. So by separating out our GUI rendering, or GUI, sorry, this Coke is not agreeing with me. So draw GUI here. I've got these GUI toggles and float fields inside this method, which I call from on GUI, and also on scene GUI in the case of draw GUI in scene view being true. So that's pretty cool. I can just, whatever I add now to this window, I can also draw up in here. Yep. One thing that bothers me with the editor GUI layout stuff is that I find the label typically won't, like it won't set the size based on the length of the label or anything like that, which, you know, it's difficult to get that information, sure, but any long labeled won't fit, and it's just a bit frustrating. See, this one, allowed distance is fine, but it's actually allowed distance between objects, which, you know, is never going to render. It's going to render that full text because it's separating into sort of columns, and this left column is not wide enough. I could probably use a GUI style to change that. Okay, so that's that. I'll probably set that to false by default, and okay, what now? Select, okay, hold down Control, nothing. Okay, so after recompiling, still doesn't do the on-scene GUI stuff. I would have thought that I've had this problem before actually with a GUI window. I might just bring that up on another monitor and see what my solution was for that. Okay, so I've got alright, what I did in that case was I had something in the, and I might just do the same for that. I mean, if that's what I came up with for that, probably be good enough for this for now. Update. Check delegate every and updates. So updates 100 times per second. We'll just do once a second for now. So if that's, oh no, num updates until check delegate so we'll do if that is less than or equal to 0, should never get to be less than 0, but might as well handle the case it's never going to happen. Alright, so set that to that and do this stuff. Right, so what this is doing is I've got two ints. One, the number of updates to wait for before checking, and what the current updates, what the current number is until we do the check. So I subtract from that every update, so it'll go from 0 to 100 to 0, and when it hits 0 I put it back to 100, and then I do this add the onSceneGUI method to the delegate list. Didn't work. No wait, tick. Okay, save, come back. Alright, cool. So that works. In fact, it may have already been working in on GUI. I just had that unticked. Yeah, it was. It was. I'll just leave that like that then. Silly. No, it wasn't. Okay. Alright, now we're good. Let's do that. Sweet. So that's those two options. Allowed distance between objects 3 meters. What else should we include? How about, well, let's just try using it in a couple of circumstances and see what the issues are. So let's say I want to select just all this wall from this angle, and I'll just get a little bit careless here. Okay, in this case I can't actually select those, they're not close enough. I can select that one, and that's it. Alright, so I can select that. I guess that's potentially a problem. I could conclude something that where you could say, you know, I don't want to select anything of a certain type of name, or something that includes a certain string in the name. So I could say, you know, don't select something if it's got the corner in the name, and that might be useful. Sure, but it's not really how I'm going to use it. I think that's going to take longer than I'd like. I don't really want to type things in. I want something that's more, just works. Just without having to write things, without having to do too much setup. I can just turn it on, just quickly do exactly what I want. Maybe there's some sort of smart selection thing I can do, like you selected an object of this type, and based on the camera angle, I guess that you're trying to select things, perpendicular, like on to the camera. The camera's sort of x-axis. If it's sort of in that direction and has the same name or a similar name or the same prefab type, maybe, then same names, same prefab type. These are all different prefabs. Similar name could work. I'd have to write a method to compare names and see if they're similar within a certain amount, but that's a difficult method to write to handle all sort of circumstances of it could be one character different at the start, then you have to handle a lot of different circumstances. So a string comparison sort of method that handles all possibilities is a bit of a, I'm not going to write that, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. So I don't want to do the name thing, I don't want to do the prefab. So what else is different between this guy and this guy besides size? Because I don't really want to do size either. There's probably nothing. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff I could do. Yeah, the name, prefab type, size, material, number of sub-objects. I don't know, like all sorts of things. And but none of them are ever going to work for every circumstance. I'd have to have a whole bunch of choices here, which is fine too. I mean, maybe that's what I'll do in the future, but it just doesn't seem like the solution right now. I'm just after something that allows me to just do this and not worry about doing. Okay, well, again, the distance is working out, so it's fine. What might be good? I mean, I think this actually works really well. I think this is fine as is. But what might be good is having an option to select one and then just hit a button and have it select the rest. I just realised that I can click on these without having to turn off quick selection, because I haven't actually overridden the sort of click select, so I could also click on the clouds and select those too. So maybe if I just go click and then hit a button or hit a key to select the entire wall. So what that would entail, I guess, is doing a pick around the screen. Yeah, so I don't want to do a check of all the objects in the scene. I want it to be, maybe I could do click and then select all of, do a rectangle select with control down control and do that. Click. Control down control, click, drag, and it selects all like ones in an area. That would be pretty cool. So alright, let's do that. So what are the options? What are the things we can do? Let's think about what do we got? We've got Prefab type. These are things that we can compare against. You've got size, materials, name. Okay, so those are cool. What are the actual materials these things use? They all use the same or different materials? Same material. Stone diff. And that's probably going to be similar for everything. And I could also, if they were different, I could go select one, select one, select another, and then do it, and it would use both materials. So, okay, that's going to be the go. I think I'm going to stick with material for now, first up, and let's have a look at that rectangle select thing. Okay, how do we get that screen wrecked? Okay, I'm only going to do this if I can actually get that selection rectangle easily. Well, so scene view, size, on with you, look at the direct, move to view, and then selection change, repanel. Okay, that doesn't seem to have it, as far as I can see. And selection doesn't seem to have it. Ah, it totally has a contains. I might go back to my where I was doing that stuff and replace it with what'll be faster code. I've got array contains here. Let's instead replace this with if selection dot contains check transform. Okay, it's probably irrelevant anyway because you can't add something twice, but oh well. We got that handy array contains method out of it. It's a little generic array contains method, so that's probably a useful one to have anyway. The selection rect, might do a quick search. Burp, burp. Man, I can draw my own. It's not Okay. Let's we can quickly look at see, this is now going to override left clicking stuff. So sort of like how it is at the moment where, you know, I can still do all this, but I can still left click on something. It's all good. I don't want to get in a situation where I'm overriding too much. This is sort of a good complementary thing at the moment. So maybe I'll just leave it as is. This seems fast enough, and chances are when it's actually used, I'll probably be not wanting to select necessarily an entire wall. I'll probably just want to select certain parts and replace them or shift them around. Such as when I was actually doing this yesterday, yeah, and I was doing this staggered formation of walls. I really just wanted to select sort of one row and the other row, and that would have been just that. So this other thing I was about to embark on probably wouldn't have been very helpful actually. But if I could have got that selection rectangle out of it, and there's probably a way to do it, find what that is, then I probably would have gone down that road and then never used it anyway. So it's probably fine as is. So that's so a little end bit to this video. I've just tacked on to shift this back and forth, which is good because typically I'm not going to want it, but I might keep the quick selection open and just give myself the ability to do these ones. I don't know if I'll end up enjoying the just control button thing, but I don't normally hold down control ever. That's sort of the untouched button. Why did it pick that guy? It's weird. Yeah, okay. I don't normally hold down control, so it might just work out as a complimentary little thing to have open all the time. Okay, that'll do. That is the actual completion of episode 18. I need to actually come up with a way of ending these videos where it's not awkward. Do the typical, follow us on Twitter or Facebook. I don't actually have a Facebook page for. I think I have a Southeast Games Facebook page, but geez, I should start getting onto that sort of thing. Twitter though, absolutely, and all the places that I normally mention for when I post it: Unity Forum, Dev, Game Dev, journals, and southeastgames.com. That's it. So episode 18 finished this time. Thanks for watching.